Hi, my friend.
Hi, oh my god.
It's been
I miss
so
you.
long. I
I
miss
miss
you
you
more.
so much. Why aren't we working together? Why aren't we
I
doing everything? I mean, I can't book a job
we
to save my life right now, so
Can anyone? I mean,
I am
I
just so blown away.
I don't even have conversations with anyone anymore that feels any even like
Yeah.
hope. People are I mean, honestly, I had lunch the other day with an actress friend and she's like so excited to get an audition. She's like, I feel like myself for 2 days while I'm preparing and doing it and whatever. And I don't even
Yeah.
have that relationship with that. I'm like, that just makes me feel like I'm wasting 2 days because it goes out.
I feel the same way. I mean, I do my auditions and not to toot my own horn, but they're fucking good. Like
Of
I've got
course
the
they are.
lighting set up. They're so good. And
Totally.
every time when they were like, they're going with a different choice or another direction, I'm like, cool, cool. I'm glad I wasted a fucking week on that.
I know. That's the problem is that I get them and I'm just like, like I don't even
Yeah.
want to do it. I
I
just
don't
feel like, what?
exactly. I'm like, what is the point?
I have not seen you in real life since we wrapped the movie. Is that
I
true? Is
know,
that
that's
right?
insane. Well,
That's
since
crazy.
you guys came out here and did those reshoots at the
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
wherever we
That's right.
were.
You and I at the airport for that hot
Yeah.
minute. So I'll just introduce you quickly. Not that you need this introduction, but Eliza, thank God, played the role of Alex in our movie Blue Eyed Girl. I have never been happier to cast anyone in my life. And it was like when you came on
Oh,
board that I was like, okay, we have a movie here, people, because
that
I've
makes
loved
me
you
feel
so
amazing.
far. It's true, though. You're so talented. And
Thank
you,
you.
I mean, you steal every movie scene in our movie, but I feel like you steal every scene in everything. I do. I'm not even
Well,
blowing
that's
smoke. It's true.
yeah, I appreciate that. I don't necessarily mean to, but I do appreciate that. I mean, it's because I don't ever really get the leading role part, so I'm like, all right, let's make this fucking work.
Well, you
You
get
know?
because so just, I mean, again, no one needs an introduction for you, but you did, you've done Happy Endings and Scrubs and all these huge shows. And right now you're doing Best Medicine. And I watched your Best Medicine stuff. And what happened for me was when I wrote our movie, obviously I didn't know you. I wrote it in a vacuum. You came in, you crushed it. And everyone always is like, so did you write that role for Eliza? Have you guys been friends for like 30 years? I'm like, no, Eliza just
Mm.
made it into Eliza. Like, you just
Oh
know
my
how to,
god,
like, make
this is so kind.
it's so true. I'm not even blowing smoke because every time I post any scene you and I are in, it's, like, goes viral because people just love you.
Aw.
I naturally had, like, really great chemistry, which is why I
Mhm.
agree when you do more things together, but
Yes.
I watched Best Medicine and I'm like, "My god, it seems like they wrote that for you," and I bet you they didn't. I bet you just went in and
No.
made it yours
No.
like you
Yeah.
do.
I mean, they asked me to do it, and I know the people on the show. Like, I got the call that it was an offer, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't audition for it." And I was like, This is written really well." And then, of course, I improv some stuff, and they always tell me, "Do one as written." I'm like, "Okay." And then I do my I do my thing. And I always give them one as written because that's only courteous. But
Yes.
it did feel I was like, "Wow, I'm really grateful that I get cast in these things that do seem as though they were written for me." So
I
it's really
mean, and I
nice.
look back at my script, and I don't know if it's because you and Alex morphed into one, but, like, it does seem like it's written for you. Even on the
I
page,
know.
there's a lot of stuff in
Yeah.
there that you ad-libbed that's, like, hilarious, but a lot of
No,
the
but
stuff
on the page, it was yeah.
it's like
You
screaming.
can't ad lib off of bad writing. You can't ad lib off of bad
It's hard.
writing, so it's a
It's
compliment,
Well, thank
you
you.
know?
But yeah, so you came on and I feel like we met literally 10 feet from where I'm sitting right now on a Zoom. And even over Zoom,
Yeah.
you and I were like
Yes.
chemistry, like
Yes.
Insta. And,
I
I've had
know.
that, and I had it back in the day with, like, male co-stars where you're like, "Oh,
Yeah, me
okay,
too.
chemistry here, I feel it." And sometimes you get it with your female co-stars, and I feel like you and I
Yeah.
had instantaneous, like, sister, best friend
Yeah. Yeah.
energy. It was
Like,
on
from when we first met, I felt I could, share anything with you and say anything ridiculous, funny, whatever, and you would be like you would get it. I knew there, within seconds, I was like, "I'm not going to offend her. She's going to get all my jokes. It's gonna be perfect." And it
yeah,
was. It
you're
was.
my kind of people. I like the, like, swing for the fences personalities, and you definitely
Me
have
too.
that.
Me too. Absolutely. Yeah.
And then in the meantime, I feel like I mean, because you had just met Billy, right?
Yes, I just met my now husband. That's crazy. I think we were engaged when I did the movie. I don't remember. I don't
You're
even think so.
engaged, madly in love, I'll say that. I know
Yeah.
because he visited. I don't even think I met him when he
No,
visited, but
you
he
didn't
did
even
visit.
see him because it was so cold. Remember, it got really, really cold,
Yeah.
and we were
Yeah.
staying up in that little, like the
Yeah.
top of this house, and it was just like it felt like a ski chalet without a ski mountain. And he came out to visit, and it was so cold that we just like stayed there. And then I think
Yeah.
Bridie came over, but that was it.
Yeah, but you guys were, and I feel like you kind of have like couple goals, because even when I see you guys online now, I'm like, they're just so, you're so in your own little world of love. It's really
Yeah,
cute. I feel like
he
you
drives me
found,
absolutely. Yeah, he drives me crazy. He drives me
well, that's
absolutely
part of
crazy, but
marriage,
that's
right?
just how it is. Yeah, I mean, we're so different. I think that's why it works. We are complete opposites. Like he goes to
Really,
bed at 2 in the morning. I get up at 5 in the morning. I
I
go to
know.
bed at like 10, 9:30, 10. So I have the whole morning. He's not even up right now. It is 10:13 out here. And he won't get up until like 11. So I get the whole morning to myself and he gets the whole night to himself.
That's
And
that
I
feels
am
like the
always
recipe
outside. What?
for marriage. That feels like
Yeah,
the recipe for perfect marriage. Like, I'll
it
see
is.
you at 2-ish
It's
until
great.
6,
We've got a couple hours in the middle of the day. And then, yeah.
and
And
then you can
and I'm going hiking all the time and doing all sorts of stuff outside. I mean, he was a professional skateboarder, but I think that he's like, I got all that out of my system. Like I spent a lot of time outside. So he feels like he clocked those hours that he never has to do that again. And I'm like,
okay.
okay, okay. I'm
And
like,
you
you
have
need to
how
see
many,
that tonight.
he doesn't leave, he's just like in the cave all day or what?
No, he goes outside and like, he goes and does stuff like he cleans like the poop up for the dogs. Like that's his job. But like other than that, it's pretty much just like, yeah. And I'm outside and I'm just like constantly going and doing stuff.
I know
It's
you
funny.
are. I see you. I see you online. So, okay. So, when we first met, you told me, which is funny because right now, anyone who follows you on Instagram this will track. But
Yeah.
when we first met, you told me your kind of origin story as an actress and how you got discovered and all that, which I
Mhm.
find to be super badass and also just really interesting. And also lines up a lot with what's happening on Instagram right now with you. So, will
I
you
know.
tell the story just because I think it's awesome?
So when I was living in New York City, actually I was living in Queens with like 5 roommates and a lot of cockroaches. And I didn't know how to get into the business. Like I had tried for a second when I got out of school at Cal Arts and I moved into LA for like maybe literally like 2 weeks. And I was like, I can't do this. I hate this. And
Yeah.
so I moved straight back to the East Coast to my parents and I worked as a waitress and then I saved up enough money to go to New York. And I had no idea how to get in. Like I was like, how do people do this? And
Yeah.
then I kept going to comedy shows and I would go to like Upright Citizens Brigade, the Pit, the People's Improv Theater. And I would just go and I'd buy one ticket and I'd just like hide and in between shows so I could stay and not have to pay again. And I'm a very honest person. And so I just saw this flyer on the wall that said like one person show workshop with Kirsten Ames, who was the one of the producers of the HBO Aspen Comedy Festival. And it was like an all-day workshop. And I asked my dad for $100. I did the workshop. We had to go up there and do like, I think she said do 5 characters. And she had a timer because back then it wasn't on iPhones. It was like an actual timer. And while I was doing my characters, she just turned off the timer and she said, what else do you have? What else do you have? What else do you have? And I did 10. Just they weren't prepared. I just like every accent, every voice, all these things. And when all the other people from that class, that workshop were like bombarding her with headshots, I just stood in the back. I didn't have a headshot. I just stood in the back and I was like, I just had this knowing. I was like, she's going to approach me. So I just waited. I waited for like the seat apart of people. And she came up to me and she's like, will you meet me at the HBO offices in Bryant Park? Like this week sometime. And I was like, yeah. I was a waitress in Times Square on 43rd Street, 43rd, 40, yeah, 43rd Street. And so I could walk to Bryant Park. And so like in between in my lunch break, which was only 30 minutes, and I was like wiping like barbecue sauce off of me, I like went to HBO. I was literally wearing like the dirtiest outfit. I looked like I was the help. Like I looked like I was like working there at HBO.
Except you're
And I go
gorgeous,
up.
so it still looks amazing.
Back then I was a whole thing. So I I went up there and she's like, I want to see, like, do you think you could come up with something to like audition for Aspen? And she showed me this tape of this other person who had won Aspen the year before and it was brilliant. And then it was just like 5 characters. And I was like, oh, I can do that. I was like, absolutely.
Yeah, you're like,
So I
"Give me something
called my
challenging to do."
dad and I was like, what's that?
You're like, "Give me something challenging to do. I can do
I
that."
know.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was like, I'm like, okay. I'm like, I have so many more people living inside of here than just 5. So I asked my dad for if I could come home to New Hampshire and if he would like, pay for me to come home because it was like, I had to take the bus and the whole thing. It was like to get back to New Hampshire from New York. It's not that far, but it's like, you've got
Yeah.
to go by the old oak tree and then you've got to go up the mountain and you got to get some maple syrup and then you got to go here
That's
and find the right
nice.
truck. Yeah. Yeah.
Funny.
It, it's just a whole thing. So I went home and I just started writing and I would walk around the house with like an old tape recorder, like a voice recorder. And I would just start doing characters. And then I'd find the bits that I really liked and I'd write it out. And I went back to New York like 2 weeks later. And Kirsten Ames, that woman, she set me up with this guy, Anthony King, who was the artistic director for UCB. And he directed my show. And so I would just go and wait tables at this barbecue joint in Times Square. And then I was a nanny on the Upper East Side. So I'd go nanny. I was a terrible nanny. And then, so I was so bad. I lost all the kids and their dog in Central Park. We found them.
I can
Anyways,
see you actually like not losing the dog, but losing the kids. You're like the dog.
I did actually, no, that is actually true. Like there were 2 kids. They ran off in different directions and then the dog ran in another direction. I was like, I'm going to go get the dog first. Then I'm going to corral everybody else. They'll be fine. It's not like it's a big city, New York City.
Yeah, it's
So
fine.
So anyway, I started putting up my show at like the most undesirable time at UCB just to workshop it at like 5 p.m. at night. And it's so funny that like people were watching me rehearse and it was this guy named Adam Pally who I'd never met. And it was
Way.
Jason Mantzoukas and Jessica St. Clair. And I didn't know them, right? And Nick Kroll was all there.
See.
And so I didn't know them, but Mantzoukas and St. Clair, they called their agents. They were like, you got to check this girl out. And I was like, I mean, from what I understand, that's the story. And then
Wow.
CAA started coming down to my workshop things. And then all of a sudden William Morris was down there. And then it's like everyone was there. And it's so funny because then when I did Happy Endings and I met Adam Pally, he was like, I watched your show all the time in New York. I'm like, what?
Oh my God. That's
Yeah. And like
crazy.
Ben Schwartz was like ripping tickets at the door, I think. I mean, he'd probably hate that I said that, but I think he was. In my head, he was ripping tickets at the door.
In my head too.
Like, yeah. And I performed with The Whitest Kids You Know, which was Zach Kreger, who's now a big director. I was like, we were all right there. We were all right there. And so
then
anyway,
how did that
I did my
lead
show.
to Happy Endings and everything? Because that then was Happy Endings like your first kind of big break?
No. So then I went to Aspen. I won the Entertainment Weekly Breakout Award. Then all of a sudden I, had no idea how to get into the business. And then all of a sudden it was like, boom, I had my choice of every agent. And I was like, oh my God, like I yearn for those days again when I was like the hot commodity. And so anyway, I just started doing stuff. And then I auditioned from New York for this HBO show called 12 Miles of Bad Road. And it starred Lily Tomlin, Gary Cole, Leslie Jordan, Mary Kay Place. Like there were Kim Dickens, like all these people were in this. And I had no idea back then, like self-tapes weren't a thing. So I read it with that woman, Kirsten, who was running the HBO Aspen Comedy Festival. She became my manager and she's still my manager. So she would read the auditions with me. And back then I was a nightmare of a human being and I'd yell at her. And I was like, if I missed a line and she tried to correct me, I'd like lose my shit on her. I was a very different person. So I got that role and we filmed 10 episodes, I think. And then something happened at HBO. I'm pretty sure it was the head of HBO. I'm pretty sure, I think he punched his girlfriend. Yeah. At a ballet stand in Vegas.
Okay,
And then all the shows that he had went away. So
no. But
it never came out.
Ashley Jones, my best friend, we were talking about you this morning and she said that she first learned about you because she was testing for 12 Miles of Bad Road and you were up against her.
I
And then
just got a chill.
and I think she saw your tape for some reason, was like, yeah, girl, I can't touch that. She should get that job.
Wait, was she auditioning for the same role?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my God, she would have been great. I'm like, she would have been great, even though. Yeah, I played Lily Tomlin's daughter, and that was cool. It was amazing. Lily Tomlin then bought all the silver for my wedding, which was amazing. That was my wedding gift. I divorced that person. But still. Yeah, it was wild. And then after, just there's a few ex-husbands in my wake. It's fine. I mean, the wake of me, not like a funeral wake. So then that was kind of it. And then after 12 Miles of Bad Road was canceled, I took a holding deal with ABC and Scrubs went to ABC. And I'm pretty sure, I think the creator of Scrubs saw my one-person show, a tape of it. And he's like, I want that character, which was my character, Deb, and which is I've now started to put on Instagram.
Yes,
And I
seen
said, I
her.
can't give you that because I've written a movie about that. I wrote a movie about that with my brother and we wanted to get it made and nobody would give us money. So he's like, okay, well, like, and so I just started doing this voice and this character. And then he was like, okay, that's it. And so then I was on Scrubs
Yeah.
and it was just wild. And then after that, after that was happy endings. So
And then and I don't remember the order exactly, but then Future Man was how much after that? I loved Future Man too, that was so fun. I mean, you've
thank you.
so many great fun
I
characters,
loved
like,
Future Man. I loved Future Man.
it
I
was
think
such
Future Man
a
was just
crazy
so fun. And
beginning of a concept, you know?
yeah, it was a wild concept, wild characters, and it was fun. What's so crazy is that for some of my favorite roles, it's usually been the most challenging time in my life, like personally.
Really?
And then the
Mhm,
role is amazing. And it's like
mhm.
sometimes when I'm like so happy in my personal life, my
Yeah.
acting is shit. It's just weird. Like nobody would know that I was going through some of the craziest shit during Future Man and also during the end of Happy Endings. Like just really intense. I mean, basically just divorces because I chose to do that. So yeah, a lot of relationships are challenging for me.
Well, that's I think we all have that outlet, which is if you are working, it's an amazing place to go when life is handing you
Yeah.
lemons. You're like, you know what? I'm just gonna check out life and go to that one for a few
I
minutes. And
know. And it's like, I think I felt like a fucking sociopath or whatever it would be. Like, I would be like seriously sobbing in my trailer, like losing my
yeah,
shit, like the end of the world, and like
yeah,
dealing with lawyers and divorce and all this stuff. And then they'd knock on the door and they'd be like 5 minute warning. And I'd be like, okay. And then
totally,
comedy. And I'm just
totally.
like, wow, like that. And it kind of showed me, as messed up as this sounds, is that my first love is always going to be my creativity,
Yes,
Like, it's
yes.
like,
And I
I
think
love
you can.
my husband, but
Oh, and it's a safe haven for you. It's a place to go where you're like, okay, and it's
mhm,
life is freaking hard. So
I know,
you're
I
lucky
know.
you even have that safe haven. A lot of people, I would dare say most people don't have an outlet like we do. And like
Yeah.
for me, I don't know how you feel about writing, but sometimes it's the same for writing that I'll just go into the
Yeah.
zone and like 4 hours go by and I'm like cracking myself up in this other
Yes.
universe. And
Oh my god,
it's a
I love
refreshing
you.
and then I come back, I'm
Yes.
like, "Okay, the real world. My
That's
kids need
I
me.
mean,
Come
that's
out."
exactly it. I know, but I feel like I always like whenever I say like like and writing is definitely something that we can do because we both write. But when it comes to acting, like that is a different expression. That's a different way for the creativity to flow out. And there's no like musicians can go sit down at a piano and or
I
pick
know.
up a guitar. A singer can just start singing, right? And like just go into a whole thing or record like whatever. And then I don't know, like, painters can paint, but it's like actors,
I know.
what are fucking monologues in our bedroom? Like, I don't it's like it's a
But look
hard
what you're doing. I mean, the only the good side of social media is like you don't need the gatekeepers like we used to.
True,
You don't
true,
need
true.
ABC to showcase you. And so here you
Yes.
are putting all these characters online, and it's like, why not? Because it is
I
an
know,
expression of your
yeah.
insane talent. It's like, why not? And do you know Lisa Gilroy at all?
No.
Do you know? She's in Super Troopers 3 with me. She's unbelievably talented. She
Oh
reminds me of you in that she's just like gorgeous like you and off the charts, funny, talented. So she
my
was in Super
god.
Troopers 3, but when I saw her, I'm like, wait, I know you. And it's because the exact same reason. She's doing stand up, she's doing all this comedy stuff and going to all these comedy clubs. COVID hits, and she's like,
Oh, just give me a chill.
I, like, need an outlet. So she starts doing
Yeah.
you gotta look her up when we get off the phone.
Okay.
She starts doing this stuff on Instagram that's, like, bananas. She's
Yeah.
pretending to be her own vagina on her period, okay? That's
My god. Oh my
insane.
god. No, I
But
get it,
actually
but, like,
so funny.
I just want everyone to know I'm itching my nose, because it is so dry in the desert where I live that I'm not doing cocaine,
It's
even
not
though
the
I talk
coca.
very fast. I'm not a drug addict. I laugh. I've never done drugs, and I laugh that people have always been like, "Oh." I'm like, "Because of the tattoos? Like, really? Because I have tattoos?
I
I just had a
know.
spirulina smoothie. Like, I could drugs isn't on the radar."
I was gonna ask you, are you still knee deep in sea moss?
I had to take I think I OD'd on the CMOS. Yeah, I think I OD'd on it. I'm
You were
now
like a
pretty
sea
big.
moss dealer on our set. You were like,
Oh, I
"Anyone
know I
else
was. I wasn't even
getting
getting
it?"
paid, and I was like their advocate. It was
Totally. I'm like,
hilarious.
"Are you getting kickback from the sea moss
I know,
peeps?"
I wish I was a spokesperson. I wish.
Yeah.
But I no, I'm big into the the chlorella and the spirulina right now.
I feel like there's some tattoos missing. Are they covered? What's happening? Are they
No,
there?
there's just this one. I will say
Oh,
though, my neck, I had this natural micro needling, so it's not needles, it's just all natural, and it fucked my neck up. So now I'm like, do I just get a big tattoo that covers the red, weird, scaly shit that happened? And
it
no,
won't.
I'm probably getting this one.
Are you? Because of
Yeah,
work or because of.
yeah, but this is what I do. Like, why do I ever get anything permanent? I get over things so quickly. I'm like, oh, I love this. I hate it. Now I want it gone. It's like my short hair. I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to have long hair again. Literally a week later, I was like, and we're growing it. And we are growing it. I cannot.
Tell me, did you get new tattoos since I've seen you? I feel like you have
Yes.
new ones.
I have my
How
legs
many?
done now. My legs are done. I got more of the dogs' names. Let's see, where is it? Silver and Arrow. Although I
Do
just
they
decided I
all
wanted to
have
change my dog Silver's name to Lancelot. It's just what
so
I
now you
chose.
have to change the tattoo as well, or
Yes. I don't know. I want to change his name to Lancelot. I just looked at him one day and I think I shared this with you, but I can like channel and I'm not going to get into that. I'll sound like a crazy person, but messages will just come to me. And all of a sudden I'm looking at him and I said to him, I said, who are you? Because I was like, who are you? What's in there? And I
yeah,
just heard Lancelot. I'm like, fucking great. That's your new name, Lancelot.
another tattoo is screaming your
Another
name,
tattoo. It's just going to go right here, Lancelot.
Lancelot. I
Or
mean,
just
it's
right
not
under
hard to
here.
get jobs right now, so I feel like a Lancelot tattoo across
It
your
doesn't
neck would.
even matter to try to get jobs right now. And that is the thing, like going back to the Instagram stuff, like it was a really weird feeling to be like, it was a hard choice to be like, am I going to go put some of my stuff up there? Because I've never been one to, I have a lot of friends who are putting their audition tapes on Instagram. That's something I just couldn't do. That's just not something I would do. Even though my work is great, out of context, it doesn't make any sense to anyone watching
Yeah.
it. So I was like, okay. So I was like, I have all these characters and I bought all these wigs just for fun because that's what I like to do. And I never intended to put the character Deb up, the like, chain
Yeah.
smoking, kind of trash
Yeah.
talking New Hampshire girl, because that was the character that was like the breakout character from my one person show fucking 20 years ago,
Oh
like
my
20
God, I
something
know.
years ago.
I know.
And I wrote a movie about it and it was getting produced by Red Hour. And then COVID hit and everything fell through. And I was like, you have this thing in the business where it's like, don't share stuff because if it ever gets made, it's like, well, you know what? It's been 20 something years.
Yeah.
Don't think that movie's getting made right now. So also, there's only a handful of people who are watching my Instagram stuff. I mean, I would love for people to watch more of it, but it's like for the first time in my life, I was like, wow, I'm not doing this for anyone else. I'm
Yes.
not.
I
Like I do it because it's like just like you were saying, like you're writing and it's making you laugh and you're like getting an escape from something and then you have to go back to real life. But whenever I do my characters and then I go back to like real life, I'm like, wow, I feel really good that I just did something
yeah.
that honored my creative expression.
Yeah.
And I've also felt like my whole life, and nobody ever really told me this, but my whole life I always had this thing in my head where it's like, do one thing a day for your purpose here on this planet. One thing a day.
Hmm,
One thing.
hmm.
And I always just kind of had that and I was like, okay, well, sitting around watching Temptation Island, which is my new thing, is not, don't
Does
judge me,
that count?
people.
One thing a day for your
But no,
existence?
that does not count, is what my point is. So I can like sit around and watch Temptation Island. The reason I watch Temptation Island is because it makes me feel better about myself because I realize what's up.
In
I'm
that
like,
case,
that's
I will
what's
be
out there.
tuning in tomorrow because I need
Oh
that.
my, yeah. I'm telling you, like, you watch that and you're like, that is what is out there in the world. Wow.
Okay.
Here I am
I've
beating
never
myself
seen
up.
it, so I will watch it now just to feel okay about myself.
And what else did my Billy and I, we never watch shit like that, but we were just like, we can't, we watch all these dramas and all these, and I was like, I need something stupid. I just need
Yes.
something that I can just watch and go, are you fucking kidding me? And Temptation Island is it. That's it. A big plug for
So
that.
you decided to do this as just an expression of kind of like, because it is who you are. I mean, like, and like you said, there is, if you're not busy performing in a show or performing on a stage, it's like you do feel like stifled. Like, where's
Yeah.
it?
And
There's, it has needs somewhere to go.
exactly. And like also, I mean, I know I mean, we were just talking about this in the beginning. Like, I know other actors are feeling this way, but like, it's been extremely humbling because I used to be offered everything, like
Mm,
turning down offers sometimes.
mhm.
And now I got an audition for just a one episode guest spot the other day. And I was like, what? I was like, this feels
Mm.
crazy. And it's extremely humbling because I'm like, I've been the lead, number one on the call sheet of 4 shows or 3
Yeah.
shows.
Yeah.
And I'm like, now I'm just fucking scraping by to get a guest spot for maybe a couple scenes on a show. And I was like, and also that was where I had to honor myself and be like, no, you know what? Like, I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to create my
Yeah.
own thing. I don't know
Yeah.
where it will go. It could live on Instagram. It could be something else. I don't know. But if
Yeah.
I don't honor that, then I'm going to
No.
start to believe that I am only worthy of a couple scenes on a show,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
one episode guest spot. Like, no.
No,
And it's not
you
about worthiness, but what's that?
you have to protect yourself in that way. And it's
Yeah.
hard because I feel like agents, they're so beaten down now that if you're like, no,
Yeah.
it's I should be offer only for that, they'll be like, well, that's not the world we're living in now. So if you don't read
That's what
for
they
it,
always
everyone
say.
else will get it. And you're like, oh. And it
I
is
know.
when I read for something, I forgot what it was, and somehow caught wind of the people that were reading for it, and I'm like, "What? No, it offends me that I'm reading for it. It offends me that all of them are reading for it. Like,
I know.
what is happening in our business?" And I think, though, that the only saving grace you have is that you're smart as hell, talented as hell, and you can write, and it's like, so just if you can, and why not create something for yourself?
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
you're
and I
capable.
love you for saying that. I love you for saying that. I mean, I think for
You
me, it's like
do.
the amount of times that I've brought things that I've created to my team. And I'm like, I don't know, like, and I obviously think in the bigger picture of spiritually and the universe and the gods, and maybe
Mhm.
that was just not the right time for it. But like, I feel like I've heard no so many times, even from my own team,
Yeah,
about stuff that's really, really good. And I know that the business is not what people think it is. We know what it is, but it's not what
yeah.
people think it is. And there's a certain levels of this business, and it's not about talent. It's not about talent.
No, no,
It's certain
sadly.
levels, and it is if you're not in a certain club, you're not in a certain club, and
No, and
that's
it's
okay.
I mean, but not nobody told me yes on the movie. I mean, my agents, nobody was like, "That's a great idea, you should do that." Everyone's
Yeah.
like, "Why would
Yeah,
you do that? That's a crazy idea." Now, granted, they were speaking from a place of some perspective of, like, how hard it is to get a movie
absolutely.
made, to get it to the
Absolutely.
finish line, to sell it, to see money back, and they weren't wrong about that. It's an enormously heavy lift.
Yeah,
That being
I
said,
can't even believe you did it, and I mean, it's amazing.
I mean, it's still a journey, and that's, part of I've learned so much, and I'm so grateful that we did it, but it is a heavy lift, and so there's no
Yeah,
denying that. On the flip side, what are we supposed to do if we don't go create things? Just sit
I
around and
know.
add guest star auditions? Like, we have to. We don't have a
I
choice.
and it's like I've been laughing because, like I have these things where it's like I meditate a lot, right? And before I meditate in the morning, I meditate in my sauna. So like I'll go, but once I'm in the sauna, before I start heating up and get into that state of like I'm sweating, and before you're like I'm sweating, I'm gonna die. It's like there's a sweet spot in there. And but before that moment, I'm just like all the stuff is like I gotta write this email to my agents. I gotta tell them this. I've got to why aren't I going out for this? Why didn't I go out for? And I'm like, then once I meditate, I'm like, just
Yeah.
bring it back to you. Do one thing a day for your purpose here,
Yeah.
whatever your purpose is, right? Whatever
That's
feels aligned on your
mhm,
highest timeline. Like if we were to be able to go, I want to jump to my highest timeline. Well, do one
mhm,
thing a day that's going to bring you
mhm.
closer to that.
Yeah.
And doing my characters, as silly as it sounds, it's like that feels so honoring to my soul. It
Mhm.
just feels good. And, I want to write something big. Like my big inspirations have always been like Tracy Ullman and
Yeah.
Chris Lilly for Summer Heights High and even Ollie G. But I'm like, maybe, I'm not waiting for people to tell me, like my agents even to get on board. I'm not waiting for people to get on board with
No,
my vision. So
you
if I'm going to
can't.
create something, I'm going to go rogue. Like I'm going rogue now
Yeah.
because the structure of Hollywood and all of that and like the waiting to like, oh, did they like it? Did I getting it? Like, no, I know
I know.
something's good. I'm going to continue working towards that, like towards the end
Yeah.
goal of that.
Yeah.
And the right people always come in, just like with your movie. Like the right people always
Yeah.
come in, the right alignment, and then you make something beautiful. And I think I used to try to like, I don't know, force things into existence because I was like, this is how it has to be. Can only do it this like procedural way of doing something. And now it's like, no, I'm just gonna throw a
Yeah.
camera on myself, put a wig on, and do something, and I don't care if, like,
I think, well,
people
there's
don't
2
like
things
it.
that one is I feel like a lot of people probably have no idea how you started and that you are capable of doing all these characters and accents and whatever. I mean, I knew it, and even I watch, I'm like, "Damn, girl," because I forget. Like, I haven't seen you do I've seen you
I
do
know.
Deb because you sent me the short, I think,
Right,
of it.
right, right, right.
But I haven't seen the other ones, and it's like, to a certain degree, it's upon us to be like, "Hey, world, remember I can do some stuff that not everyone else can do." And for you, particularly with all that, it's like the right people will see that and be like, "Oh,
That's
shit, like
exactly it.
beautiful and funny, and she can do sort of like mainstream version of that, like,
Right, right.
and it's sort of like sassy but funny and mainstream, smart, quippy, and all that. But it's not exactly like
Right,
outlandish
of course,
character.
it shows the range, though. I mean, and I don't ever think of I mean, I do think of that now that me my that's one of the things my husband said to me when before we met, because we met on Instagram, he slid into the DMs, and I accepted. And, he went and watched a bunch of my stuff because we meet till 2 weeks after we connected
Yeah,
on Instagram. So he went and he's like, "God, just like watching all your stuff, like you do this kind of character." And I'm like, "I've always been a character actor trapped in a leading lady's body." Like, that's kind of
yeah,
what I am. Like, it's very hard for people to, and I'm not saying that I think that I'm some gorgeous hot ingenue, but I'm like, it's tricky because I don't have that typical, I guess, character actor look. I laugh because like when I was a kid, I was so chubby and not good looking, and I had a huge space in between my, like, I should have been the character actor back then. But that's what created this now. Like, I had to hone a
yeah.
lot more skills. I had to hone a lot more
Yeah,
skills.
right? I think it's the same for me to some degree because I started being cast in comedy and I was like, "Wait,
Mm,
what? Am I
yeah.
me? Okay." And then
Yeah,
I
but you're
started
so
writing and
funny.
everything that came out of me was was more comedic than anything else. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I mean, our movie obviously is tonally kind of like split, but I feel the same way. Like I was cast in a lot of more kind of I've told you this before, like more comedic sidekick kind of roles. So when we were
Yeah.
looking at Blue Eyed Girl, I kept saying like, let's bring in and save for the fact that you played Alex, I should have done this because I needed probably someone more famous than me to be the lead. But I was always like, why don't I play Alex and get someone like
Yeah.
a big person to be Jane? And I'm glad it didn't work out that way
I'm
because you
so
crushed
glad you didn't do that. You were perfect.
have. But but I feel the same way that I've ended up with more like quirky kind of funny stuff, but then they kind of
Yeah.
try to put you in the box of the leading, not anymore though.
Yep. No, I mean, not anymore. I mean, I have this like kind of witchy intuitive thing coming through recently where I'm like, oh, my career is gonna like retake off when I'm in my
Mm.
like mid 50s because I can play that like mob boss, kind of like female mob boss type of like villain, the bad guy. I play that. And what's
Yeah.
so funny is I'm so not that in real life, which I always laugh because I either play the like really type A, buttoned up, perfect person, or I play like she's gonna kill you. And in real life, I'm neither of those things, but I love it. Like that makes me so happy that I can play those things. I mean, I am a very type A personality and I am a
Yeah.
little obsessive compulsive when it comes to cleaning and all the things, but you wouldn't know that if you met me on the street, but you would know that if you watched my shows. It's
Yes,
just
but I mean, like, in our movie, I thought you what I loved was that you did play this, like, sort of type A edgy character, but also you showed real vulnerability, which I
I
don't know
loved
if you
that role so much.
could do a lot because I feel like people put you in these roles where you're like you're in charge of everything all the time and you
Yeah,
don't get to sort of show the side of you that is like,
yeah.
you know. I was
Oh, I
gonna
know,
ask you go ahead, go ahead.
I would just played a cult leader, and I was like, "This is perfect. I love this," but I'm, like, just laughing, like, there was no vulnerability to that character, and I was like, "That's fine." Little do people know, I cry almost every day. I cry almost
Do
every
you
day.
really?
Yeah,
Do
I'm a
you?
very emotional person.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I can people send me dog videos because we know I'm obsessed with animals and
Yeah.
I wanna save every single one of them.
Yeah.
But, like, someone sent me this one of this, like, dog that had been to war, and he lost an eye, and he still tried to save everybody. Billy and I are just in the kitchen, and I'm watching this, and I'm just sobbing. He's like and he didn't even look. He's like, "Dog video?" I'm like, "Yep, yep." I mean, I lose it all the time.
Yeah. Well, we just went through that last week. I sent you
I
that
know.
video of
How is the little Bubba Bear?
he, is I think he's on the mend. I mean, he's better. He's much better. He's, like, got a big personality, and it went all the way down to 0. Like, he was just like, "Ugh," and we were all like, "What?" I mean,
Oh,
because he can be kind of a lot when he's at full 100%.
oh, no, that's like, oh my god, yeah.
He went down to 0. I was like, I thought he might not make it, but he's on
Yeah,
the mend. But yeah, I know you're a sensitive soul. I know you feel all the things. When we
all the
talked
things.
when you were here and you'd be like, you'd wake up so early and go through all these things because you're just like, you take in all of it, which is
Yeah,
part of the
it's
process of being creative is that unfortunately
correct.
we're also kind of like an open nerve ending.
It's so right, and it's like I've been recently feeling like, I mean, you and I both live so outside of Hollywood, right? Like, I mean, I
Yeah.
live in Joshua Tree in the desert in the middle of nowhere, and I've been laughing because like this still isn't far enough away from me. Like, it's weird. Like, I'm now looking into places in Costa Rica. Like, for real.
Really?
Like, I'm like, I wanna just like, it's very challenging for me, one, to be in a human body, and then also to be in and around the 3D world. Like, the 3D
Yeah.
world is just so it gives me headaches. Like, I've been having some health stuff going on, and I'm just like, they can't figure out why, and I'm like, "It's because it's energetic." It's because
Mm,
I feel so much, and it's also the
mhm,
same thing we've been talking about is, like, I'm so deeply frustrated with what's
mhm,
happened to our industry and what's happened
mhm,
to people like us, where
mhm.
we're so talented, and we're also, like, the work ethic that both you and I have, and, like, just, like,
Yeah.
the way you ran your set and, like, the way everything was run, like, we're professionals, and, like,
Yeah.
I'm frustrated that that's not being honored, but also I'm not looking for some, like, pat on the back for being so great. It's just, like, we've worked so hard to get to
So
where we
hard.
are. And it's like,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm stagnant right now, and it's like literally hurting my body.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm
Well,
not
like I said, my friend the other day was like, "The only time I feel like myself is when I get an audition and I can, like, just channel all my
Mhm.
energy into this character and into the research in this world and doing all the things." And while I can relate to some extent, I also feel frustrated by that because it's
Me
like,
too.
unless you get the job, it's just in 2 days of your life. But I think, I mean, and that's part of, like, look, you look at my movie, it's about midlife and kind of landing in this place where you thought life was gonna look a certain way,
Mhm.
and maybe it doesn't, and how do you kind of go from there? And then ironically, you did another show pivoting that's the same theme
Yeah.
really, right? That
Yeah.
life kind of throws you curveballs.
Yeah.
And I listen to you talk and I sort of feel like, I think life throws you all that stuff until your inner child or whatever starts
Correct.
screaming at you loudly enough to be like, okay, we can't play by the rules anymore. We're all done.
Correct. Correct, and, like, I think that's it, like and it's so interesting, like, when you just brought up pivoting, like, the first thing that I thought of was, like, I didn't really know what it was to I was very, cocky in the beginning of my
Mhm.
career because everything started happening and then it didn't stop. I went from show to show to show to show. People loved me. I was getting all this stuff, like, I mean, there was so many things going on, and
Mm.
so when pivoting came around, that was actually I got that job during COVID, right before COVID, and then thank you, Fox. They paid me during COVID, which was freaking
Yeah.
amazing. They paid me a whole
Yeah.
episodic fee, and I was like, "I love you," and so grateful for that. And but it was so I was going, I was like, once again, another divorce was happening, so I was just a whole thing. But I it was after pivoting that everything just halted. So during that show about what do people do now in their lives, I couldn't relate to it because I had had
Mm.
everything in a short period of time. I mean, not when I was a kid growing up in the middle of nowhere in New Hampshire. Like, no, we
Yeah.
were not well off and it was, I wasn't gonna have anything handed to me. But the beginning of my career until that moment, aside from terrible relationships and divorces, I had had it pretty freaking good. Like it had been cushy for me and a lot of money and a lot of jobs. And so doing that show pivoting, I was like, once it ended, and then once the strike happened and once like everything kind of fell apart, I was like, oh, I would play that role so much better now. I would play it so much better because I didn't have that like, oh my God, what do I do now feeling. I never had that. I said when I was 4 years old, I was going to be an actor and I've never stopped. And
Yeah.
so what's happening now is I'm like, yes, I'm bummed out that I'm not getting the opportunities that I used to get, but there's part of me that's like, I genuinely want to move to Costa Rica, do a yoga training, be a yoga teacher, live
Yeah.
off the fucking prana and just like be drinking smoothies and I'll work part-time at a fruit stand. I don't care. Like there's part of me that's just like, I don't have that thing that that little girl in New Hampshire used to have, the little version of me, which was like, I want to be a movie star. I don't care about that anymore. Like
Yeah.
I care about feeling good about who I am and also being able to express myself creatively in a way that
Mhm.
is relatable to people that might make them, even if it just makes them laugh for the day. It's
Mhm.
like that's all that matters to me. And
Yeah.
that was a long journey to get there. And it's like I feel like I used to say that stuff, being like, oh no, I don't care. And I did. And now I'm just
Yeah.
like, I really don't care. Like I do not care. Just as long as my dogs are around and my husband, I'm good. Like I'm good.
Yeah. I think that's part of obviously there's some stuff about midlife as a woman that kind of sucks, but
Hmm.
I think
Yeah.
the flip side of it is what I'm seeing as I look around and is that on the other side of it, you come out with like this I don't give a fuck attitude that kind
Yeah.
of like opens up the sky for you that you're like, oh, all
Yeah.
the stuff I was so wrapped up in before, including like what you look like and what
Ugh.
people think of you and all the things, you start to shed some of
Yes.
that, and it
Yes.
allows so much freedom. But then you have to go, okay, so now I have this like next chapter where I don't care as much about all of those things. And so
Mhm.
what does that look like? And
Yeah,
that
it's
is,
it's so interesting. I mean, like that is such a that's just so up for me right now. Like this whole idea of like, I really don't care. Like I've had so many people comment on what I look like and make these things about like she must be this and this and this. It's like I barely drink, I don't do drugs, and all people, but if people assume, right? Because people just take a snapshot of who you are.
yeah.
Nobody would know, like, oh, she gets up at 5 in the morning and is doing qigong and yoga and making a smoothie. It's like nobody gets that. Like I'm drinking lemon water by 5. It's like
I know
everyone.
that.
It's just
I
like
went,
I and like my journaling and like all the meditating that I'm going to meditate after this, and it's like
yeah,
I just think it's interesting, like, I'm done proving myself to people, proving who I am. Or, like,
yeah.
I think there's a moment, maybe it's in, like, our early 40s, late 30s, where I think that's still clinging on of, like, "I want you to see me, see the real me." And it's like, I don't care if you see the real me, because those who can are my people. Those who can are mine. Then that's a frequency alignment. But the ones that aren't, then we're just not on the same frequency, and they will never meet, So, I don't care. I'm gonna move to Costa Rica.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. Eliza Coupe, thank you so much for your insane body of work and for being a part of our movie. As I said, it felt like a real movie the day that you signed on to be a part of it. And you're an insane scene stealer in everything you do. So I'm grateful to you for meeting with me today and also just for all that you've done and especially for being my sister and blue eyed girl. And I can't wait to see what comes next for you, whether it's in Costa Rica or Joshua Tree or maybe Minnesota. You did look at houses here. Okay. Thank you. I love you. You're the best. And I hope we get to do this again soon.